Newbie Norm is where all great investors begin on their journey. Just like anything else, when you first start actively investing into buying an online business, you just don't know anything yet. And that's okay. That's how we start with anything. But there are some very special things you need to know about if you find yourself as a newbie norm. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by the choices out there and you're afraid of making, a very terrible mistake with your money, I totally get it. This video should help calm those nerves a little bit to help you get started and make the right decision. Even if that first decision is a mistake, if you follow my advice, you're gonna be all right. So let's go dive into this video and dive into who and what is Newbie Norm. Hey everyone, my name is Gregory Elfring. I am the Director of Marketing at Empire Flippers, where we help you buy and sell online businesses every single week. If you haven't checked out our marketplace, what are you doing? We have the most businesses of anywhere else pretty much. So go and get a free account. You can just go register there. Also, if you're watching this because you are curious of what kind of buyer persona you are, there will be a link down in the description below to our buyer persona quiz you can take. And it's just a fun little 5-minute quiz and you can figure out real quick who you are and where your strengths are. So let's dive into this video. Who is Newbie Norm? Like I mentioned in the hook of this video, Newbie Norm is just someone who's just starting out. But just because you're a Newbie Norm and you don't have any online business experience, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have any business experience, right? You might be an incredible business person. Your business acumen might be off the charts, right? You just have never ran an e-commerce business, right? It's a very specific kind of business you've never ran. And just because you're a newbie norm doesn't mean you don't have capital either. We had a person that I would definitely qualify as a newbie norm. He came to our marketplace and within a 2-week period, he bought a $2 million business, no online business experience at all, but he had a lot of background in commercial real estate, financing, which was extremely helpful when it comes to e-commerce because you need to have your finances in order when it comes to capital reinvesting for your supplies and all that kind of stuff. So newbie norm just doesn't mean you're bad at business or anything like that. All it means is that you are brand new to buying an online business. You have limited experience. Maybe you know 1 or 2 things, and maybe you don't have the capital, and maybe you don't have any business acumen either, and you're still a newbie norm, and that's okay, because I'm going to give you a little plan that's going to help you out if this is you, because it can feel very overwhelming when you first begin. All right, so if you are a newbie norm, what kind of businesses should you be buying? My answer for you is to buy what I call a learning business. So these are businesses that if you bought them and you lost everything, it just became a dumpster fire and overnight lost everything, you yourself financially will be okay. So one way you do this is by splitting your budget into thirds, which I believe I talked about in the last video. If you have a budget of say $150,000 that you would be 100% okay with losing, obviously you don't want to lose it, no one wants to lose that amount of money, but if it happened, you're not homeless or destitute or anything like that. You take that $150,000 and you split that 3 ways, 50, 50, 50. You can't buy a business that is over $50,000. And that way, even if you make a mistake on your first one, even on your second one, you're still in the game long enough to learn the ropes. That's why I call it a learning business. It's a business where going into it, you're going to probably make a lot of mistakes and know that it's okay. You're baking that into your investment calculus, right? So another thing you want to look at when you're buying businesses as a newbie norm is a pristine business. You want a business where there's nothing wrong with it because you probably don't know how to fix a problem business, right? So in this case, don't look for the best deal. I see so many people just starting out make this mistake. They're like, oh, I want the best deal, lowest multiple, highest profit, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you're familiar with real estate investing, you might have heard of the terminology of A neighborhoods, B neighborhoods, C neighborhoods, and so on, with D's being war zones, basically, that you should never buy. And the thing is about that real estate analogy, a lot of that's true with online business too. In a war zone neighborhood, neighborhood D, your profit, your ability to make profit is sky high. Your cash flow is amazing, but you deal with vacancies, bad tenants, crime, all sorts of bad stuff happening, weird stuff happening that destroys your house, all this stuff. So it's very management intensive. On the flip side, A neighborhood, there's really none of that. You're not making much cash. You're hopefully still making cash flow, though it's harder in A neighborhoods, but you have the best possible tenants. They're great. They treat the house like it's their own, all that kind of stuff. So you have minimal maintenance. It's a lot more hands-off. but it also produces a lot less net profit. When you are starting off as a newbie norm, the volatility of an internet business versus another investment class is off the charts, but so is the ROI. The ROI is very much more aggressive with what you can produce when you invest into an online business. But with all that said, do not look for huge profit when you're buying your first business. Instead, look for something very, very stable, look for something very, very steady that has hopefully no problems at all, because again, you're not yet equipped to dealing with that. First, you need to know how to run the business before you understand the minutia and the nuances of the various issues that can plague that business model and how to fix it. So look for a good deal in terms of it being a good business, not that it is a good price for you to buy it. Obviously, you still want to be price sensitive, but don't make that your main thesis when you're a newbie norm, because you're probably, if you do, you'll probably buy a business that makes a ton of crazy cash flow that is very hard to manage, and you won't have the skills to manage it, so all that crazy cash flow will go away. So that's why I don't recommend you do that. Another thing to look for when you're a newbie norm is look for a business model that already is fairly hands-off. So there's a few different business models that lends itself really, really well to this. So affiliate sites and content sites like monetized by, say, Google AdSense or Mediavine, these are perfect starter business for someone who's just starting out, because you don't deal with any of the logistics of products being sold. You don't deal with any customer service, none of that kind of stuff. All you are dealing with is really the marketing side of things, and specifically just SEO. You don't have to worry about all the other marketing channels out there. You just have to learn SEO, which is a task in of itself. But it gives you a business that is somewhat on training wheels that can still make really, really good money. Where if you're not there, like at your computer desk every day, like say you're still working a 9 to 5, right? Which a lot of newbie norms are, and you just had a crazy week. You just could not put any time into the business you bought. If you bought an affiliate site, that's okay. I have friends that don't touch their affiliate sites for sometimes months without anything bad happening. So if you miss a weekend or miss a few days or even a couple weeks, or you want to go on vacation or whatever, this is a very minimal time investment style business. So I mean, obviously there is risks involved. A Google update can destroy it, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of actual your time investment, it's pretty minimal, and unless you want to grow the business. Then obviously you're going to be putting in a lot more time. But that is a great business model. Another great business model is Amazon FBA, especially if it's a somewhat bigger Amazon FBA business, say like $100,000, $200,000, really like probably more like $150,000 and up, because it's probably built enough traction where you can run it a little bit on autopilot. You still want to be there, pretty much at least checking in once a day, because you're dealing with actual customer service and supply chain, all that kind of stuff. But the beauty of an Amazon FBA business is similar to the affiliate site stuff. You only need to focus on a few things. So you need to focus on logistics, obviously that's a big one, but Amazon takes care of a lot of the promotional aspects for you. Now, obviously you'd probably still be running some marketing yourself, but it won't be as crazy as, say, like buying a traditional e-commerce business where you're doing everything. You like jumped into the deep end real quick. You're doing marketing, logistics, supply chain, promotion, everything, 100% of everything, right? With no one giving you a helping hand. So that is a business model I would probably avoid if you're a newbie norm, is the e-commerce business model. And I would probably also avoid SaaS if you're a newbie norm. Unless you actually work at a startup right now that's a software-based startup and you have some real experience in managing developers, or you're a coder yourself, I wouldn't recommend for you to go into SaaS as a newbie norm. Now, obviously there's caveats there. I have friends who are definitely newbie norms that went like, nope, not listening to you, Greg, bought a SaaS business and they're doing fine. I also have friends who are not doing so fine with that. So it's definitely more of a dice roll if you do something like that. If you're a newbie norm, look for a pristine business and one that is easy to run, doesn't take a lot of time, and look for some kind of leverage. So affiliate sites, you get to leverage the fact that you don't have to do any of the customer service and logistics. And with Amazon FBA, you get to leverage the fact you're on Amazon, and Amazon will do a lot of the heavy lifting from fulfillment and promotion for you. So those are two of my favorite business models if you're just starting out. So now that you have a pristine business figured out, once you buy that business, there's a few things you should be doing right away. Everything you learn from the seller on how to run the business should be turned into an SOP, standard operating procedure. Ideally, the seller has already done this, and that can act as kind of like a buyer's manual for you. If they have not done it, and if you have a good relationship with the seller, negotiate that fact. Hey, will you like write out the SOPs for me on how to run this business? Because that's going to be very, very important for you to learn. And once you do take over the business, start documenting every single thing that you do to that business. What are you doing on a daily basis? Put the dates that you do it on and all that kind of stuff, and monitor what happens. If something good happens, look at what you did and turn that into an SOP in of itself. Once you buy a business like this and you're brand new, the most important next step for you is to document and systemize everything as much as possible. Hopefully you'll have some seller support for 30 to 60 days, and you'll be able to give these SOPs for them to review now and again if you have a good relationship with that seller, or you can just join different groups and ask people what they think of your SOPs. But this is a very important part of your career as an investor. Once you buy your first business, really focus in and learn, and just record and systemize and process. Because I promise you, though it is annoying and incredibly tedious, you are going to be ridiculously happy if you decide to keep doing active investing of business acquisitions that you did this. Trust me, it will be a huge asset for you down the road. All right, so that's Newbie Norm in a nutshell. What do you guys think? Are you a newbie norm? Did I explain that well? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you have any questions about being a newbie norm? If you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're brand new, trust me, I understand. If you want to talk to someone about it who is a professional, who isn't just going to like high pressure you into a deal, feel free to set up a call with us, with our sales team. I know I just talked about not selling you on something, not putting you on a high pressure deal, but our salespeople really don't do that. We are consultants at heart. We want the seller and the buyer to win, so we are not going to like deter you. For example, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned the guy who bought a $2 million business as a newbie norm. Well, that call was very interesting to listen to because our sales guy, when he heard that, he's like, oh, well, what's your online business experience? And the guy said, well, nothing. He's like, okay, well, maybe we should put you in this $30,000 business first to just, to see what happens. And that guy just told our sales guy, nope, I'm buying that business. He's like, oh, okay. So if you are feeling overwhelmed and you want some actual advice, feel free to schedule a buyer criteria call. We're happy to make a plan for you, and it's no pressure at all. Usually they last between 20 to 30 minutes. If you want to see what kind of buyer persona you are, the link will be down below as well, where you can take that buyer persona quiz and you can join along in this video series. So that's it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, you got a lot of value out of this, and I will see you on the next video in our buyer series. Talk to you soon. Bye.